So here we are. My book is dry. It was 24 hours. And you can always do that by checking. The wax paper that I had on it, you can see some of the glue did seep through, but it did end up peeling off. You just have to do it gingerly to avoid ripping the front page, because you can kind of see by the sheen it does have glue all over it. Now, as far as cutting this open, here's where I'm at for the first box. I did it with a box cutter. It's doing a lovely job. Among my other tools, I did have a pair of tweezers, but you know what? They really don't give you much strength, so I ended up switching to those guys. But I just wanted to show you. So they fit right in. And you can see there, so you can check the depth, close the book, see if it closes all the way, or, if it's lifting it, and that's how you'll kind of do your test to see if you're done yet. And of course I have my amber. That'll go in with it. I left the mess so you could see it. So you can choose your work area wisely. This is the mess. It's quite a bit. So don't do this somewhere where you're not going to be able to get all of these little pieces, such as, well, maybe a carpet wouldn't be too bad because you can vacuum. I'm doing it on my stovetop because I can easily just sweep it out of here. And of course it's up at a level where it won't hurt my back while I'm working. But you will have your own place where you can decide where it's good to work. So now I've done this by hand. There are a couple of options for you. Let me move my jet. Oh, that one took off. And my amber. I just wanted to show you how they'll fit. So I made it to fit snugly, which is what I want. I don't want them banging around. Okay, so you can see, I can go with a brush and dust it all off. But you can see how there's a few ragged edges. If that really bothers you, you can go in with the X-Acto knife and try to clear out these edges. Or what you can do is you can go with your glue and a brush, and you can go around and really press it in. You can go even farther than that. If you have little scraps of fabric, you can still do the glue in here and then press in maybe a black velvet or something, and really press it into the edges, and then go with your your scissors and trim the excess, or trim a good amount of excess at the top and then fold it over so it has a black border, and then of course the interior. It's up to you. I kind of like the pages showing at the moment. I may change my mind. I do that all the time. But for right now, I think I'm going to leave it the way it is. And I am now going to try, since I did it by hand, I'm going to try it with a Dremel and see if I can get better results with a power tool. But we'll see, and I'll let you know how it works before you try it and find out it's a failure. So I'll be right back, and I'll let you know how that went. So my book is nearly finished. As you can see, everything fits the way that it should. See, nothing sticks up. So it will close and sit flush, looking like any ordinary book. So now that everything, and I did use a Dremel in the end, because especially this one, you see how deep this is. It would just be so much work cutting, especially being a round shape. I just saved myself so much work by using a Dremel and just going around and around and around with the cutting tool. The tip I used, it's definitely a cutting tip. It's not the powder coated buffing tip. It certainly looked like a screw. It was for cutting. So I just went around and around and around until I got down to the bottom. Little by little, taking paper out as I went down, because otherwise it'll muck up and get wound around the tip. So still a little bit of work, but not nearly as much work as it would have been to do it all by hand. This, of course, is my bag of sage for ceremonial purposes, so I can just grab a pinch and throw it into the flame. And of course I have all of my other magical items. I have jet and amber. Of course, the two together have not magnetic but electrical fields, and the way that they work with your own energy, they'll begin to warm. So those two together are harmonious, and of course amber, in particular, is very good for channeling energy, and it will warm in your hand and sync with your own energy. So more magical items, of course, my scrying crystal. This one actually being made of glass, but it was infused with copper, and so you can't see it in this light, but it looks like the universe. There are tiny, tiny crystals that formed, and they look like little stars. So this lighting certainly is not the lighting that you use to scry or to meditate on the ball. You do it in very, very low light, preferably candlelight, so that you don't have all this reflection, which you can see now. It's kind of destroying the quality of the item, actually, because you're fixed on looking at all the reflections instead of looking into the object. So this isn't good light to show you that, but that's what that is. And of course I have my howlite, my beads, and these are the human skulls. So these are my Tibetan prayer beads, and they're all done in different ways, all using wood. And these are for hanging on objects or on yourself, or, just for ceremonial purposes. So again, these are items that I really don't want to leave out into the open, sitting on a table, but I don't want them in a place where it will be difficult to get to them when I need them. So I want to be able to just grab my book and then go when the time is right to perform a ceremony. So I have drilled out, as you can see, a little indent, and this is for my magnet so that it sits flush. This magnet, it's important that you get this kind. At the stores, they're calling them neo-magnets. These are not the lead-based magnets that everyone is used to seeing. As you know, the lead-based ones really aren't that strong. They're cheap, you get free ones in the mail all the time from companies so that you can put their logo on your refrigerator, but as you all know, they don't do a very good job of actually hanging things on the refrigerator, anything beyond one sheet of paper, and it begins to lose its strength. These, however, are very, very different. These are actually what you would hang your knife set on, your knives, and I will demonstrate it for you. They are very strong, and they will hold it. So this is actually what's used in the industry for that sort of device. Okay, so be sure that you get that kind to make sure that your book does not flop open on you and dump all of the contents. So now we're at the point where I need to glue my magnet in. I will again be using my Gorilla Glue. Actually, I'm saying again, I don't think it was this session that I talked about it. It may have been another video. So this glue is very strong. It's like an epoxy, but it is not epoxy. If you know how epoxy works, you will know that it is a pain in the butt to work with. You do have to mix it. There's no mixing required. It just needs a little bit of water, and you're not mixing. You're just getting the items you want glued wet. So that's very easy compared to the traditional epoxy. And of course, it's for metal, wood, everything. It will stick to anything. A word of caution though, it does foam. So a tiny, tiny bit goes a very long way. So you will be doing just a tiny dot on the paper and then pressing this down and putting a weight on top, and it will foam and come up. If you fill the cavity, it will overflow and you will have glue everywhere. So just a word of caution on when you're using it. I will be putting a washer on the opposite side to make the magnet work. I could do a double magnet, but I'm afraid that will be way too strong. I will actually have difficulty opening the book. So what I am doing, I am going to close the book here and try to make an impression of the magnet onto the inner pages. As you can see, it's somewhat working. So then I'm going to use this impression to make sure that I put my washer in the right place. And I'm not going to do it right this second, but I'm just going to show you how that would work. So I'm going to make sure that I put it on the page I want. Come on. I want it actually on the cover itself. And then using this as a guide. It's hard to show you with the camera, but... And then I'm going to feel where the washer is. It's a little bit off. And so I'm just going to align it in the perfect spot. It's right there. And then I know where to glue it, and then I will proceed to glue it. I'm not ready for that just yet, so I won't be, but I just wanted to show you before I turn the camera off and go about doing what I need to do. Okay, so I went ahead and faceted the washer. You can see where some of the glue kind of bled through, but that's just going to happen because it's a cutout. You know, I just put 4 dots, and you can see how it foams out. And it does dry white, just so you know. Go ahead and move what was putting that there. So this is dry. And then, of course, this one is dry. And put that down. And then, as you can see, it is holding. There we go. So you can hear it. I'm putting a good amount of force on it. Not a lot, but enough that it holds it and won't let it flop open. So I can put it on the shelf and it will stay. And then when I'm ready to use my items, just a little bit of force will get it open. And then I can use my items. So you can see, or maybe you can't, but the strength of this magnet is perfect. It's just enough force that it's not pain. If this were a double magnet, I would really have to pull hard, and it would probably bend this board that's used to make the book. So it's just enough force that the board can handle it, and enough that it won't flap open on its own. So I hope this tutorial helped you and will lead you on a path of making your own books. And you could do a set, you know, having the ease of power tools certainly makes a difference as far as whether you make this or how many of them you make. But it is kind of one of those things that everyone thinks about but never really gets around to doing. So hopefully this will help you to make your own. And if you have the ability to make a set, that would be really fun, and fill your library with interesting objects like this that will bring you peace of mind and happiness. So enjoy. I hope this helped, and everyone have a great weekend.